presentation of the Oregon Sports Network.
And Oregon is going to play in the national championship game.
This is Duck Insider.
These are good problems to have, right? So much success that you have more than one place to be.
5-3, touchdown, Oregon.
Off the dribble, launches, and hits the three. Oregon leads.
What a great opportunity it is to be able to play at the University of Oregon.
I'm just incredibly proud to be a part of something like this.
She wants another three. Oh, three in a row.
Oregon is headed to the Super Regional.
Big Ten champions, your Oregon Ducks.
We are so privileged and so fortunate. We get to see all these young people. We get to see this incredible growth, which is what college is all about.
This is Duck Insider on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield, presented by OnPoint Community Credit Union. People are the point. Now let's go live to the Country Financial Studio to talk Oregon Duck athletics.
Closing out the week on a Friday inside the Country Financial Studio. It's Duck Insider, brought to you by OnPoint Community Credit Union. Ryan Milano here with you after an Oregon men's basketball game earlier this morning in which the Ducks couldn't continue their run through the Big Ten tournament after a 74-64 loss against Michigan State in a game which we'll break down here coming up on the show, but Oregon just didn't play their best basketball today, still had chances against a very talented Michigan State squad. Also coming up later today, PK Park will be the home of the Oregon Baseball Big Ten home opener for the Big Ten Conference. Minnesota coming into town at 4 o'clock today, first pitch between the Ducks and the Golden Gophers. Reminder, giveaway, first 500 fans in the building will get the retro Oregon O hat. It's a fitted one, it's a adjustable one rather, so you can fit it to any head. Also, Oregon Acrobatics and Tumbling have their senior night going on. First 100 fans at Matthew Knight Arena get a specialty Oregon Acrobatics and Tumbling mug tonight against Mary Hardin Baylor at 6 o'clock for Oregon Acrobatics and Tumbling and Taylor Susnara's squad. Oregon softball also will get their Big Ten season started tonight against Washington on the road at 4 o'clock. Will be when Missy Lombardi's squad starts off their first action in Big Ten play. But we are breaking down the game for Oregon men's basketball and the 74-64 loss against Michigan State earlier today. And for Oregon, they just weren't clean with the basketball. I think the stat that really stuck out to me in this ball game was the Ducks only had 10 assists, and they turned the ball over 15 times. Michigan State, they're talented, they're long, they're athletic, they can make things really difficult for an opposing offense. Oregon saw that, and when you lose the assist-to-turnover ratio and you only shoot 21% from three, it's probably not a game that you're going to win very often. Oregon just didn't make a bunch of the shots that they needed to make to claw back into the game and stretch out the Michigan State defense. They also didn't make it very difficult because of some sloppy play with the basketball. Coach Altman, Nate Biddle, they talked post-game. Nate Biddle had a strong game in this one individually, just with his sheer numbers. He had 22 points, 11 rebounds, a double-double. He had 2 blocks and a steal. Continues to make impact on the defensive end as well, but no assists for Nate Biddle and 4 turnovers. Michigan State was strong in this one. TJ Bamba, the only other Duck in double figures, he had 11 points, 6 rebounds, 5 assists, but 5 turnovers for TJ Bamba. The turnovers were the numbers that really hurt the Ducks in this game earlier this morning as Oregon's run through the Big Ten tournament comes to an end. Ducks still with a ton to play for, but a disappointing morning for Oregon on the hardwood. Coach Dana Altman, Nate Biddle breaking down the performance for Oregon earlier today.
We made too many mistakes, just too many defensive mistakes, didn't rebound the ball the first half. So got ourselves back to 1, and then they scored 13, 14 in a row. We didn't get the stops and took some really contested shots. So made too many mistakes to beat a good team.
Yeah, Nate, you guys got within like 1 point, early in the second half, and then they go on that big run. What changed after that point?
Like Coach said, we just took some quick shots. They got some buckets, and we can't do that against a good team.
Yeah, Nate, you kind of had a frustrating day yesterday. I mean, Coach said you played amazing, but you had a much different day statistically today. Is it a little bit frustrating to do that in a loss?
No, yesterday I did what I had to do to help my team win. You know, they were taking some shots away yesterday, and I helped my team, you know, assists and rebounding and stuff like that. But today, you know, I just try to do my job. You know, it's not always going to be your day, but, you know, we fought hard as a team. We know what we got to do going forward.
Nick, can you just talk about what makes Michigan State such a challenging team to play?
You know, they have some talented scorers, but we didn't do a good job getting to that rebound in the first half. They were up, I think, 10 on the boards in the first half, and that's not something that we got to do against a good team if we want to win.
You guys had a terrific season. You're going to get probably a pretty good seed in the tournament. Talk a little bit about where you think you guys could go from today, maybe a few changes along the way to get to the tournament, to NCAA. How do you think you're going to go from here to there, and then what do you think the result might be?
Yeah, you know, we know what we got to do to win. It starts with rebounding the ball, getting stops on defense, and then offense is going to come. So if we do those things, we'll be good.
Yeah, obviously there's still some season to go, but how do you reflect on your first year in the Big Ten so far?
You know, it was good. You know, it's a different league, more physical and stuff, but I enjoyed it a lot.
Yeah, Dana, you brought up the rebounding. You know, can you put your finger on what was happening in the first maybe 30 minutes? I think maybe 10 minutes ago, you guys are being out-rebounded 26-12 or something like that.
We just didn't go after the ball. Guards didn't rebound. You know, they picked up loose balls, and you know, Nate really gave us a presence the second half. Then KJ started going, but we didn't go after the ball. They picked up loose balls. They were quicker to it. You know, we had to have everybody on the boards, and we didn't.
Coach, what could you say about their defense that made it especially hard for you guys today?
Well, we got into the paint a number of times and just took really contested shots. You know, we got it down to one there. And I know TJ took a contested one, Raheem took a contested one, Jackson took a contested one. We took 3 or 4 possessions in a row there. We took really contested shots, driving the ball in the paint, and didn't kick it out. We have to make better decisions than that. And then we weren't getting stops, you know, so it went 13, 14, whatever they had in a row there. After we had made a really good run, but again, I didn't think we played through Nate enough. I thought the ball should have went in there more, but we just pounded it a little bit too much.
I thought one of the things that you just touched on that while I was going to ask a question. Do you think spacing of your team on the floor and maybe Michigan State's defense prevented a lot of going into Nate?
I don't know. We had a couple different sets there that we got it in there pretty good. You know, their length, their size inside, you know, can clog the middle up a little bit. But we knew that from the last time we played them, that, you know, when you get the ball in the paint, you got to kick it out. And we went 4 for 19 from 3, and they went 7 of 15. We had a couple guys hit them that, you know, were shooting in the 20%. And we had some pretty good looks from Key, and Bam had a couple good looks. We didn't hit them. And shooting the ball is a big part of the game. And we needed somebody to hit some threes, and we just didn't do it.
Obviously, you'd like to win, but how can you use this time off to kind of reset before the tournament?
Well, we'll examine the film and try to get the guys to, you know, get the ball moving just a little bit better on the offensive end. When we got it inside, if you look at the points in the paint, we beat them 40-28. When we got that thing inside to Nate, you know, a lot of good things happened. So we'll talk about that, try to get the ball moving a little better. We made some glaring defensive mistakes that we got to get cleaned up. So, and then we got to get more guys on the boards. You know, Nathan did a great job, 11. KJ, like I said, picked it up the second half and got 5, I think, the second half. So, you know, those 2 guys picked it up, but our guards got to rebound more. Everybody's got to look at the boards.
Depth has been such a huge part of the success of your team this year, and it didn't seem like you got a whole lot from the bench today. You know, what do you attribute that to?
Oh, I don't know. KJ gave us some good minutes with the rebounding. Had a couple bad turnovers in the first half. Bam missed a couple shots that he hit yesterday. Raheem was okay. Supreme was okay, but we got to get more out of the bench. You know, we played our starters quite a bit, and we got to get some more from our bench.
Jackson obviously struggled a bit offensively today. Do you think that kind of universally makes the front court a little bit weaker offensively and allows a team like Michigan State to really hone in on what they need to do defensively?
Well, you know, I think he's our leading scorer, or second, whatever he is, and you know, he had some looks he didn't hit. So, you know, he just didn't play as well offensively as he played in some games. And when we're playing our best, you know, he's getting a few buckets down.
Dana Altman, Nate Biddle breaking down the loss for Oregon men's basketball. It's brought to you by the Willamette Valley Cancer Institute and Research Center. Better cancer care close to home. Also post-game courtside, Joey Mack, along with Oregon assistant coach Mike Menega, who broke down the opportunity for the Ducks and how Oregon fell short. But I think the Ducks are still feeling optimistic about where they stand here in March. It was an 8-game winning streak for Oregon. Couldn't turn it into 9. It's hard to win that many in a row, but Oregon's still playing really strong basketball towards the end of the year. Mike Menega breaking down the performance for Oregon men's basketball this morning.
Oregon assistant coach Mike Menega, kind enough to come out of the locker room and chat with us. And, Coach, we were just talking a little during the break, and I said post-game, I said in the game that felt like there were just a couple stretches, got within one in the second half, but then Michigan State able to pull away. What are some of your takeaways?
I mean, today? I feel like the same way. I think it came down to – and that's why who they are, you know what I mean? And we were really worried about their physicality, and Coach challenged their guys to fight them on the glass. And if you look at the last 4 minutes of the first half, you know what I mean – they really, really asserted themselves in the paint and got a bunch of offensive rebounds. They converted on every one of them. You know what I mean? Then we cut the lead to 1 in the second half, and not only was it a rebound, we just didn't handle the ball good enough. And that's really uncharacteristic for us. We're usually a very, very good ball handling team. So the these are all controllable.
Right.
You know what I mean? And we got a veteran group. You know what I mean? They're stung right now, but they're at the same time, we're really excited about finding out what's next.
Yeah, it's such an odd thing, right? Like we sit here on a Friday before Selection Sunday, and you lose a game, and you know it's not a 9-game winning streak, but you still feel really good about what this team can do the rest of this month.
Oh, 100%. You know, I mean, I think there's no debate in that locker room that we are one of the best teams in the country. It's just a matter now, just kind of putting together 40 minutes, and it's come down to 3 things. A, we got to out-rebound people, we got to take care of the ball, and we got to be really, really connected defensively. Yeah. We got really talented offensive players, and when we get the ball moving, and sometimes our lack of defensive intensity and energy and lack of physicality on the glass affects our offense, so then we try to chase it with a one-side 3 or a 2-side 2. You know what I mean? We got to keep moving the ball regardless of what's happening on the either side.
Well, you talk about an individual. I mean, Nate, not maybe his best game yesterday, but you still win, and then today he posts another double-double for you.
You know what? And it's funny, like yesterday, I mean, they were really, really determined to double Nate, you know what I mean, and put some bodies on him. So, you know, today he had 0 assists, you know what I mean? Yesterday he had 6 assists, you know what I mean? So Nate played the game, and he's doing a great job. He's playing at an All-American level. And, again, you know what I mean, it was just small stretches there, but I love where our team is at. You know what I mean? And maybe it's just the right amount of gunpowder that we need right now to give us that little extra grit and incentive to make a run next week to a Sweet 16.
Yeah, hey, you've been a part of these. You know what it takes, right, Coach? I mean,
no doubt.
It still just feels like such a good team, and if you play a full 40 minutes, oh boy, look out.
I mean, like I said, I've been here with Coach. This is my 11th season. You know, I've been to, I guess there's like 4 Sweet 16s, 2 Elite 8s, and a Final Four, and multiple championships, and we know what we got in that locker room. You know what I mean? And obviously right now I know Jackson and Keyshawn, those two for sure, they feel like they let us down a little bit, you know what I mean? But dang, man, that's ball.
Right.
You know what I mean? It comes and goes. And then obviously right now, you know what I mean, confidence couldn't be as high, and maybe that's just what we needed, you know what I mean, right there to inspire us, you know what I mean, next for the rest of the month.
Well, there you go. Selection Sunday coming up. Mike Menega, thank you.
Thanks, Joey Mack. Thanks,
Appreciate
fans. It's
you.
been a great year. Appreciate you guys. Let's go get it.
Yep. A few more weeks on the road, huh? Pack that suitcase.
I'm not complaining.
Yeah, that'll be good.
Let's get mad out here. Let's get mad in March.
March Madness. It's here for Oregon men's basketball. Yes, a disappointing loss earlier today, 10-point loss to Michigan State, but now the Ducks turn their attention to Selection Sunday. Oregon will find out where the men go Selection Sunday starting at 3 o'clock on Sunday. The women will also figure out where they're going at 5 o'clock Selection Sunday for the women March Madness bracket. Where will they go? Who knows? Where are they going to be seated? I don't know. I don't know. The men probably going to be somewhere around a 5, maybe a 6. The women probably going to be somewhere around a 9 or a 10 seed. Those are my expectations going into Selection Sunday. Obviously, a few bids that could potentially be stolen as the remainder of the week and weekend and a whole bunch of different conference tournaments come down. But Oregon going to be competing for a few national championships in a national tournament coming up on the men's and women's basketball side of things. At least we hope the way that things will fall over Selection Sunday. Oregon track and field, they're going for a few championships as well. The indoor championships just got underway inside the hour. We'll have a full breakdown of the NCAA indoor championships and Oregon's representatives when we return on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
As a local community credit union founded by teachers, OnPoint is committed to supporting the students and faculty at the University of Oregon. And on game day, we're right there with you, on the field, in the bleachers, and in the classrooms. Drop by our local branch today and discover the many ways OnPoint can help support your financial well-being. OnPoint Community Credit Union. People are the point. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing opportunity.
At Shadow Hills Country Club, we're more than just an award-winning golf course and practice facility. Our events team offers all-inclusive event pricing that allows us to take care of all the details while you enjoy your event. Our indoor and outdoor venues offer you a wide variety of fully staffed options that put the focus on you. From weddings to business and social events, at Shadow Hills Country Club Events Center, you get the benefits of a resort atmosphere and amenities in a peaceful country setting, just minutes from downtown Eugene. Call for a tour today or visit shadowhillsevents.com.
You're listening to Duck Insider. Duck Insider on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
August was born 3 pounds, 9.8 ounces. When I first saw him, it was a whole range of emotions. There's stuff I still want to do. Being a young dad, it's not giving up. It's shifting. I looked through his eyes. I can envision a whole future with him already. To throw the first football to him, give him ice cream for the first time. My life is now devoted to his life.
Through all of fatherhood's firsts, never stop being a dad. Visit fatherhood.gov to hear more. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
You took the first step and quit smoking, but even former smokers may still be at risk for lung cancer. That's why SaveByTheScan.org wants you to know about a new low-dose CT scan that can detect lung cancer early. It takes only 60 seconds and could save your life. You took the first step, now take the next. Visit SaveByTheScan.org for a simple quiz to see if you're eligible and talk to your doctor about screening. SaveByTheScan.org is brought to you by the American Lung Association's Lung Force Initiative and the Ad Council.
Back here inside the Country Financial Studio, it's Duck Insider brought to you by OnPoint Community Credit Union. Ryan Milano with you. And for our Cafe Yum 2-minute drill, we're running down the names of qualifiers in the NCAA Indoor Championships as Oregon is just getting going in the NCAA Indoors. It started earlier today, literally within the last hour. Oregon just got on the track for the first time, and a whole bunch of Oregon athletes still yet to compete at the NCAA Indoors. But the qualifiers, the Ducks are sending 14 qualifiers, including 10 individuals and 2 relays. Shalana Yildiz, Mia Barnett, Simeon Birnbaum, Matthew Erickson, Kododoy Kadali, Jaden Mays, Aaliyah McCormick, Wilma Nielsen, Ryan Porter, Jada Ross, and then both the men's and women's distance medley relays. The representatives for Oregon in the NCAA championships that just got started. Through the rest of the day today and pretty much all of tomorrow, the Ducks will be competing in events, trying to rack up points, where the Ducks stand, how the Ducks are feeling coming off of a very successful Big Ten championships last week where Oregon took home both the men's and the women's team title. Well, earlier in the week, Jerry Schumacher, he met with the media breaking down where Oregon stands headed into these national championships and also coming fresh off of the conference meet. Let's hear from the head coach of Oregon track and field, Jerry Schumacher.
All right, so you guys accomplished something that was, I'm sure was a goal at the beginning of the season, but it was kind of weird. Like, USC had it, and then you guys somehow ended up with it. How'd you guys find out about that at the end of the meet for the Big Ten championship?
It was. We weren't sure what was going on. We saw the protest, or not the protest flags. We just saw the flags go up during the meet, so we didn't know what happened. We didn't know who was involved with it because we weren't in that heat. Just the way it came together and the way it sorted out, we ended up getting the W.
Who do you think was the ultimate deciding factor in getting that team title at least on the men's side?
It was everybody. Honestly, the entire championships for men and women between, the administration, the logistics, our staff, getting the athletes ready, the travel, everything that we did to get everybody there, healthy, rested, and prepared for a Big Ten championship. And then the athletes just stepping up and performing the way they did. I think that's what the victory was all about. And it wasn't any one single person. It was a complete team effort, both for men and women. And it always is in a conference championship like that. That's what it's always going to be. The team is really. I think we took 26 and 25 athletes to it on both squads, and that's when you take a squad that big. Everyone has to do their part in order to win, because I think we were talking earlier, we all start from zero. We all start at 0 points, and we have to put the points on the board in order to win.
What has Matthew done to put himself in a position to be a Big Ten champion and make an NCAA indoor championship meet?
Yeah, his development has just been steady over the years. He's gotten better and better every single year. He's learning how to race. Like, his execution of racing is getting better, and that's something you learn over time just by experience, being in more races and more competitive championship efforts like that. Again, his fitness is high, and he's a talented and gifted athlete, but I think the experience he's been getting through racing has really been helping his probably his development in making finals and placing well in finals, and obviously winning the Big Ten championships was a big step towards that, because I'm sure as you looked at the descending order list from the Big Ten, there's a lot of Big Ten athletes in the national meet for 800 meters, and he came out on top at the last championship, so it was great racing by him.
Are those tactics the hardest things to figure out when you join a college program, with good times and fast times, to figure out actually then how to race and not just race fast?
Yeah, for sure. I think in high school, I think young athletes who are as good as Maddie is coming out of high school, I think they're used to being in the front of every single race and kind of controlling it the way they could with their effort. Now you come to college and everybody can do what you can do. So it takes a little while to learn, or better. So everyone takes a while to learn. It takes them a while to learn how to develop and to put themselves in the right places at the right time.
Not to go too far ahead, but you guys have a big home season at Hayward. How advantageous is that for you guys to have Big Tens here, NCAAs here, and then 4 home meets?
Yeah, nothing more exciting than having championship meets here at Hayward. So obviously we're really happy about that. We have our usual 2 meets, which is the preview and the twilight meet. We've added a team invitational this year, which should be a lot of fun, just to get a few teams on campus here, and we'll do a little team scoring, which is something I think our athletes always like to do, just be a part of the environment of working together and being a team. And then obviously Big Ten championships and NCAAs. I mean, 2 of the biggest and best championships that you could possibly host, and we get them both in the same year. It should be a lot of fun.
With all these collegiate records that have gone down this year, what event has surprised you the most?
Wow. I mean, you know what? The times are so fast with everything that the performances to qualify for the national championships is, the level's just so high right now. I don't know if I could pick one event. They're all just, you have to be a great athlete to go to the national meet today. You have to be able to perform at a certain level, and there's no easy road in.
And I can't remember if 10 years ago, were you at Wisconsin 10 years ago? Or
I was not. No.
So
longer.
So, what do you? I guess if I know you were coaching pros, but like, do you remember the 2015 meet and you know what it took kind of to get in there? Or
I don't even remember the 2015 meet, but we were laughing about it. Probably a few weeks ago, we were saying, remember when it took like 4 minutes? If you could break 4 minutes in the mile, you were like guaranteed to go to nationals. And now we had a guy at 3:54.21, and he's not in. So it's a little bit of a shock, but. The level's high, and everyone is. I mean, it's super competitive, and that's what you want, though. That's what you want a national championship to be.
As the coach, how do you coach these kids with like a mental aspect when you're saying it? Like, yes, you are supremely physically talented, but you have to be locked in up here. How do you do that?
Yeah, we talk about that all the time. That's just kind of race strategy, and you can watch video. There's examples of great racing and terrible racing almost at every championship meet. And that's the best part about the NCAAs or the Big Ten Conference meet. There's no, times don't matter. You can throw times out. You have to have a certain level of running ability for sure, or jumping ability or throwing ability. But at the end of the day it's just raw competition against the people you're competing against. And so there's just ways you can sort that out and just know your competition and watch other championship efforts and learn from what you've done in the past and what you've done well and what you haven't done so well.
What did you see from Kadali over the weekend in his first championship meet?
Yeah. Kadali, he's a great talent. We're excited to have him here. He's learning. The truth of the matter, he's gone from not really having a clue about indoor track. One of the things we were talking about even at the conference meet was just learning when you can break in, because otherwise he spent a couple earlier races this season running in lane 3 when he didn't have to be because he didn't know he could come in yet. So indoor track's a whole new thing kind of for him. So, but he's learning quick, and he's a smart guy. So he's learning real quick, and he just gets better and better every week. So, but outdoor track, he's a lot more comfortable on this track than he is on the indoor track right now. But he's learning quickly.
What's going on with Simeon? I know he's entered, but he hasn't been racing for a while. You held him out of the Big Ten meet. How healthy is he going into next week?
Yeah, he picked up a little niggle, but he's doing some light running right now, and we're hoping he's 100%. That was unfortunate timing because we really wanted him to be part of not only what we were doing at Big Tens, but obviously nationally he's going forward. But he's a smart kid and super talented. He knows he's got a bright future, so he knows being cautious is sometimes the right decision.
Is that just part of the bigger plan of, making sure that you're geared towards outdoor season and getting him healthy for that?
Oh, yeah. Well, ultimately, that's what we care the most about is outdoor season. It's, again, we have Hayward Field, and that's our thing. So, but he knows that's the real season for track is outdoor track. So he's definitely focused more on that. But he also doesn't want to miss. I mean, he ran a 3:52 mile this year, and He knows he's one of the best milers in the country. He doesn't really want to miss the indoors if he doesn't have to. So
pretty good competitor too.
He's as good as they get when it comes to competing. He can he turns it on and he's ready to go.
I remember asking you at NCAA Outdoors last year, like the confidence that you guys could win a national championship on home turf. I feel like after this last week at Big Tens, the amount of points that you put up in an 18-team conference, which you could say could be an NCAA meet, are you a little bit more confident that this group could get it done on the women's side this next week in Virginia Beach?
Yeah, so the NCAA meet breaks down pretty nicely. I think we're taking 14. We have total 14 entries, 10 entries on the women's side, which is the third most of any program or team going. Arkansas, I think, has 13, which is probably the most, and another team's at 11, I think. So we're right up there with some of the best, and it's a relatively veteran group as well. We have some newbies on the men's side who have not been to a national championship, but on the women's side, the vast majority of our athletes have been to a national championship. So the experience, having a large number of entries, and we have the collegiate record holder in the mile, and she also anchored our collegiate record DMR. So that puts us in a good spot for sure. National championships are hard to win. I think we have a good shot at it, though, and we're going to do everything we can to win. So, our athletes are prepared for that.
What about the men's DMR? I know you guys weren't healthy the last time you ran it, and you kind of had to throw some people in on the fly.
Yeah.
But, just looking at your entries, you got a lot of talent at your disposal. A lot of guys who aren't otherwise participating in the meet.
Right.
Do you feel like that's a team that can maybe make a little noise?
For sure. Elliott got a slow start to the indoor season, and He's a 3:33 guy that finished 8th at the Olympic trials and 2nd at Outdoor Nationals last year. He's a great guy to have on that relay, and he'll be fresh because he's not running any other events. Again, he started a little behind this indoor season, but he's been getting better every single week as well. So, buying 2 more weeks from the conference meet, I think Elliot will get only better. So that's a good thing for us. The crazy thing is when I looked at the entries that 2 of the 2 3:48 milers from indoors both scratched the mile, and they'll be fresh on those DMRs as well. So that makes that DMR is going to be loaded with a lot of talent and a lot of fresh legs. So it should be a very interesting race, but that's what makes it fun. That's going to make it a great race.
Do you expect it to be tactical like it was at Big Ten, or you think those guys are just going to go for it and end these races?
I have no idea. Yeah, I have no idea. We're going to be prepared for everything. We're already prepared, I think, for fast because obviously we've been in some fast races already and they've performed really well. But we're going to be prepared for tactical as well because you never know how they're going to go and how they're going to play out. So we'll see.
What's more difficult, to prepare for a tactical race or for a fast race?
It's probably more difficult to prepare for tactical because you have to make decisions and one decision can cost you a place, 2 decisions can cost you 2 places, and so forth. So you want to make good decisions in the race, whereas when it's just kind of a flat-out race, you're kind of getting in line and you're hoping that your legs match the person's legs that you're competing against. And so I would say probably tactically is the one that's a little bit more complicated.
Jerry Schumacher, Oregon track and field head coach, breaking down the NCAA Indoor Championships that just got underway from Virginia Beach. Oregon has some talented athletes in the field. We'll hear from a few of them when we return after this on Duck Inside on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
As a local community credit union founded by teachers, OnPoint is committed to supporting the students and faculty at the University of Oregon. And on game day, we're right there with you, on the field, in the bleachers, and in the classrooms. Drop by our local branch today and discover the many ways OnPoint can help support your financial well-being. OnPoint Community Credit Union. People are the point. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing opportunity.
Hey Duck fans, at Country Financial, they make insurance easy. Whether you're shopping for home, auto, or more, their representatives will take the time to understand your specific needs and explain what options work best for you. Worry less and feel more confident knowing you're covered. Visit countryfinancial.com to get started today. Experience more with Country Financial. Auto and home insurance policies issued by Country Mutual Insurance Company, Country Preferred Insurance Company, and Country Casualty Insurance Company, Bloomington, Illinois.
This is Duck Insider, presented by OnPoint Community Credit Union on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Uh-oh, Brad's buzzed.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, he's starting with the woots. And now a speech.
I just want to say that friendship is about heart and brain. Who's with me?
Good thing is, he knows when he's buzzed.
And my brain is saying, when it's time to go home, somebody call me a ride.
Love that guy.
Me too.
Know your buzzed warning signs? Call for a ride when it's time to go home. Buzz driving is drunk driving. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Substance use disorder and addiction is so isolating. And so, as a Black woman in recovery, hope must be loud. It grows louder when you ask for help and you're vulnerable. It is the thread that lets you know that no matter what happens, you will be okay.
When we learn the power of hope, recovery is possible. Find out how at startwithhope.com. Brought to you by the National Council for Mental Wellbeing, Shatterproof, and the Ad Council.
Back inside the Country Financial Studio, it's Duck Insider, brought to you by OnPoint Community Credit Union. Oregon track and field competing in the national championships on the indoor side of things today. Bunch of Ducks up for bunch of opportunities to take home points, national championships, and one of them who's at the top of what is going to be a very stacked 800-meter field is Matthew Erickson. He took home the Big Ten 800-meter title in what was a very loaded conference field. Now transitioning into the national field, Matthew Erickson Matty Erickson has a chance to be in the mix towards the top. He has one of the top qualifying times in the field in the 800, a real chance to win for Oregon. One of a few Ducks that has a very strong chance to take home a national title. Hearing from Oregon's 800 runner, Matty Erickson.
Matt, what do you take from that performance you had at the Big Tens, and how do you use that moving now forward into NCAAs?
Take a lot of confidence away from it. Going into the meet, my goal was just to really execute the plan that me and Jared come up with. And I thought I did a really good job with that. And so going into NCAAs in a couple weeks, we're going to have another plan. It might be a little different. It might be similar. But it gives me confidence that whatever we do drop, I'll be able to execute it really well. And whatever success comes with that, it'll be that.
You guys had guys step up in big ways, especially Connor. Just what have you seen from Connor the last couple of weeks, after a tough freshman year for him?
Yeah. Same thing, a lot of confidence. He was in Arkansas a couple weeks ago and put together a really good 3K. And I think that gave him the confidence that going into Big Tens, he could run a really good 5K, run with some big names and beat some big names. And that's what he did. So going into outdoors, I'm sure that he'll use that momentum and just continue having the great season he's been having.
What sort of thought process did you bring into the season in terms of what you wanted to accomplish, how fast you wanted to run, and kind of where you thought you were going to be at this point?
Right. I never really go into a season with time expectations. That's not really something I focus on. Indoors kind of breeds that because the way to qualify is objectively just how fast you run on paper. My goal is always how well can I compete? This team loves to compete. That's the whole goal of this sport, is to go out and try and beat people. And so going in, Big Ten was a big goal of mine. I was really putting some emphasis on that meet because I knew that if I could run well there, it'd give me momentum for potentially nationals and the rest of the outdoor season. So that, and then along with NCAAs, that was a goal of mine to qualify. Going into it, my big goal is just to go in there and compete really well. If I can execute a plan that Jared and I have together, I think that good things will happen.
It's by and large just a bunch of 146 guys in that meet. Do you look at those times and those competitors and be like, this is going to be, I got a shot in this if I perform well?
Last summer, I felt like I was in a similar position where I'd run some decent times. I was in pretty good fitness, but I didn't make the national meet. I didn't execute on the day, but I went on to run a fast time in the post-collegiate season. I ran 145 that summer, beat some really big names, same names that you see at nationals this year. So that gave me some confidence going into this season. Not so much the times on the paper, but the names that I see. Those are all guys that I've run with in the past and have competed really well against. So that gives me confidence going into this meet that, yes, it's a lot of 146 guys, but me and Kadali have shown that we're there as well. And so on the day, I think that we are just as much a competitor as anyone else in that field, and we'll be able to put together a really good performance on the day.
You guys have been away from home for a lot of this indoor season, but you're going to have a ton of outdoor meets here. You're going to have the Big Tens, NCAAs. How much of an advantage is that for you guys?
It's huge. This outdoor indoor season's just been pretty hard to manage with all that travel. Being able to train and feel like yourself on the road isn't as easy. Being at home on arguably the best track in the world, this is my absolute favorite place to compete. And so that gives us, I think, a big home advantage. The Eugene, Oregon, the home crowd, Tracktown USA, they are fans of track like none other. And so going into those meets, I'm really excited to run at home. I can't wait to see what this team puts together for an outdoor season.
Is that like something you guys think about a lot in your preparations? You're like, hey, we are running at home. It means something?
A little bit. Yeah, when the O's on your chest and you're running at Hayward, there's a little bit more pressure, a little bit more expectation on you, but it just fires all the athletes up to perform at their best. I think that the crowd is used to seeing great performances here, and we hold ourselves to the expectation that we want to give those performances to the crowd. So going out there and competing as hard as we possibly can and trying to put the O in front of everyone else is our big goal.
In terms of going to Virginia Beach, have you guys kind of gone over the points as far as like what the distance guys can put together to potentially bring a team trophy, which I know it's a couple weeks from now, but I'm sure that's a conversation you're having with Jerry quite often now.
I did the math in my head. I think the maximum number of points we can score is like 38, and that's if we go like 3 golds and a silver. I don't know if that's enough to win a team title,
But a trophy, though.
Yeah, definitely. And so, again, what we've just been talking about is going in there, executing as well as we possibly can, and competing on the day. I think that if we do that, we have the personnel that can get the job done. Whether that's 4th place, 3rd place, I'm not sure. But we'll be proud if we can go out there and compete with the top teams of the country.
What's Kadali been like to have on this team, and what has his addition meant to the group?
He's great. You know, I've been running really well this year. I think a big part of that is that he's been a training partner of mine. Him and I work really well together, and him as a teammate with the rest of the team, you know, all the guys love him. He's just the most talented athlete you've ever seen, and a great friend, great teammate. So I'm really glad that he's been here this fall. He's a little dinged up coming into the indoor season. But that's just a nod to how good of an athlete he is, because he was able to come off that injury, run really well with minimal training, and then pull a second at Big Tens, which is not easy to do. So going into the national meet, 2 more weeks of training under his belt, he'll just get more and more momentum under him. And so he'll be very dangerous at a national meet with 2 more weeks of training under his belt.
Jerry's talked about how he's very new to indoor track, and he's had some adjustments. You know, what have you seen from him, and what's that been like?
Man, it's just a different sport. It feels like outdoor track. The setup is more familiar for him, more familiar for me. Growing up in Canada, even though there was a lot of snow on the ground, I didn't run a ton of indoor track, and so outdoor is what I'm really used to. This year indoors, we were really focusing on our execution in races. When the track becomes a little bit smaller, there's a lot more like technical maneuvering that you need to be able to do, and so that's something that with the distance team we've been really focused on, is where to position yourself to set yourself up the best you can for the end of a race. It's really hard to move around bodies on a 200-meter track with 50-meter straights, so that's one of the big ones. The other thing is, again, similar to outdoors, is just competing as hard as you possibly can. We've really put an emphasis on competition this year, beating as many people as you can. And the way to do that indoors most of the time is positioning. So, yeah.
Do you like that challenge?
I do. Actually, I really do. I think that when you are able to run well indoors, it demonstrates that you have great tactics under your belt. Running is not just about who's the fittest, especially in the 800. It's about setting yourself up to be in that, like, the correct positions in the last 100 meters, 200 meters, whatever it may be. So this is great practice for that. I've really enjoyed this indoor season because I feel like I've learned a ton tactically. So yeah, it's been great.
What do you guys kind of talk about in terms of the mental aspect? I mean, people who come to Oregon are like on a certain level of athletic ability, but there's a lot of mental training that you have to do. What do you guys talk about in terms of that?
For me personally, I've put a lot of pressure on myself in the past. This year, something I've been doing to take the pressure off is, instead of focusing on outcomes, so whether it be like where you finish in a meet or like what your overall placing is, focusing on your execution, like the variables that you can control, making sure that you perform the best that you can on any given day. And if you execute your plan and the outcome isn't quite what you want, well, you take that as a win, because you're coming away with lessons learned, and you know that when the time is right, the fitness is there. When it's your moment, you'll be able to step up and execute a plan that's there for you.
Matthew Erickson, one of the competitors for Oregon in the men's 800-meter field, joined by teammate Kodadoy Kadali. Coming up, the prelims at about 4:50 tonight will be when the preliminary rounds for the 800-meter will commence, trying to advance into tomorrow's 800-meter final. On the women's side, Oregon has a potential to compete at the top of the team race for a team title. Hearing from one of the women of Oregon when we return on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Jan here. Spring is in the air. Time to get back outside with a new Toyota.
Go from dreaming it to driving it. Dealer inventory may vary. See your participating Toyota dealer for details. Event ends March 31st. Toyota, let's go places.
As a local community credit union founded by teachers, OnPoint is committed to supporting the students and faculty at the University of Oregon. And on game day, we're right there with you, on the field, in the bleachers, and in the classrooms. Drop by our local branch today and discover the many ways OnPoint can help support your financial well-being. OnPoint Community Credit Union. People are the point. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing opportunity.
Jan here. Spring is in the air. Time to get back outside with a new Toyota.
Go from dreaming it to driving it. Dealer inventory may vary. See your participating Toyota dealer for details. Event ends March 31st. Toyota, let's go places.
Back to the Country Financial Studios in 60 seconds. This is Duck Insider from Learfield.
Put your phone on D&D. That means that do not disturb when you're driving. And when you're going from point A to B, I need you to stay safe, please, so always sing with me. So put your phone on D&D. That means that do not disturb when you're driving. And when you're going from point A to B, I need you to stay safe, please, so always remember this beat.
Don't drive distracted. A message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council.
Babes, what are you doing?
What? I'm just mowing the lawn.
No, it's blazing hot and dry out here. Don't you remember? Smokey Bear says.
Avoid using power equipment when it's windy or dry.
Where'd you learn this?
Oh, it's on
SmokeyBear.com with many other wildfire prevention tips.
Right. Thanks, Honey Bear.
Because remember, only you can prevent wildfires.
Brought to you by the USDA Forest Service, your state forester, and the Ad Council.
Back inside the Country Financial Studio, it's Duck Insider brought to you by OnPoint Community Credit Union. National Track and Field Indoor Championships going on right now. In the middle of that Matthew Erickson interview, Aaliyah McCormick was out on the track for her prelims and won her heat in the 60-meter hurdles for the Oregon women. Advances to the final, which will be tomorrow at 3:40 p.m. McCormick excited about a win post Big Ten championships and her prospects to potentially take home a national championship here on, well, this weekend coming up tomorrow. Let's hear from Oregon's hurdler, Aaliyah McCormick.
All right, the pressure's on now. You guys got to try to see if you can get, a third one here when the outdoors comes here. Just, how special it was for you guys. And I saw you with the broom out there.
It felt amazing. I mean, we all knew that we had to, bring it. I mean, especially being a part of such a good conference. So we were really excited to just come and bring our big dog out. So.
Where'd you get the broom?
I don't know, actually. Somebody just handed it to me, and I was like, perfect. Let's just, tell everybody that we swept them.
We were just talking to him about what it means to come run at Hayward. You guys have been going all around the country for indoors. How stressful is that?
I wouldn't say it's stressful, but it definitely takes a toll on the body because being in the Midwest this past weekend, it was a lot. Like, the sleep schedule was definitely like, oh my gosh. Like, I feel like waking up at 8 o'clock there is like 5 o'clock here. I'm like, goodness gracious, like I can feel it. But we took it well. So I mean, I would do it again.
When you think about coming back to Hayward, then you guys have Big Tens, NCAAs here. How much of an advantage is that for you?
I feel like it really isn't a disadvantage. I mean, it is an advantage because like coming here, you can really feel like the Hayward magic. So coming back here, getting ready to go back to nationals, it feels really good.
There were two types of intensities when it comes to championship race, obviously racing in a championship final, but then also you had a fire in the middle of the track that, had to separate for two section finals. What did that do for you, I guess, in prelims, but also finals, knowing that we're not all going to be on the same line in the same race?
Yeah. For me, I was just like, wow, the track is on fire. Like, I remember somebody saying the track is on fire. Like, yeah, it's fast. No, the track is literally on fire. It really wasn't a bother to me. At first, I was kind of like confused, but I knew that the competition was going to be in the second heat because it was going to be the fastest. And so I was really ready for that. I just really wanted to be where the competition was because that's where I glow best.
You ever been to a final where it's been, I guess, that close of a race? I mean, you had to wait probably, maybe 2 minutes till they actually had it on the clock?
It was a long time. No, I think that was my first kind of like neck and neck race, and it felt really good. It felt really good to just be beside somebody who's really good at that level. So it felt good.
Like 2/100ths of a second that separate you guys from the top 4, top 5 in the country. Where do you make that up? What do you do now to work on kind of bridging that gap, however small it is?
Right. I just really work on composing myself. I know, like, feeling that, like, tenths of a second, it can kind of get nerve-wracking. You know, you can be like, oh my goodness, like, kind of shaky. So I just make sure that I'm composed. All of the hard work that I've been putting here and all through indoor has been preparing me for this moment. So I just, you know, have confidence walking in and making sure that I can do everything that I've been working hard for. So
how does your previous experiences at the indoor meet help you going into next week?
It helps me a lot. I've been at all of the indoor nationals my freshman and sophomore year, so I'm just really excited to just come here, especially being like one of the top 5. So I'm really, really excited, and it has prepared me because I've already been in that type of field. So I know that although it is nationals, it's just another race for me.
What makes this group special? The numbers we saw, I mean, the way you guys just blew away Illinois. I mean, this group can accomplish a national championship, but everything has to go perfectly at the NCAA meet.
Right. I think what makes this group special is just our hard work. Everybody has a specific type of event, as everybody is special. So coming all together and just knowing that, like, each and every person has their own routine, their own mindset, their own way to keep calm, their own way to keep hyped up. So I think that is definitely us. Everybody each has their own personality, and that brings us all to, you know, the big O.
Is there somebody, I know you probably focus more on your own event, but is there somebody outside your event that you've seen like, wow, they have really stepped it up this last year, 2 years to really put us in this position?
I would definitely say Salon. I think this is her first year, I believe, and I think so. I'm not sure. Don't quote me on that. Second year. But yeah, she really like stepped it up. I was like collegiate, like I was like, please give me a handshake so that I can feel that collegiate record holder, like so I can, you know, give me some motivation. I feel like she definitely stepped it up. She was already like an amazing athlete, but just this year, I'm just in awe of watching her.
You talked about that composure. How much do you guys talk about mental, like, fortitude and strength when you're going into these meets?
We talk about it a lot because I feel like track and field is definitely like 70% mental, and then the rest is just hard work and making sure that you're putting in all the cues to put everything out on the track. But it can definitely be a mental challenger, like a mental block. If you feel like if you walk on the track and you feel like you can't do this, you won't do it. So we try to just make sure that everybody is mentally okay, making sure that you can do it. You walk out a winner and you will be one.
Just looking at the entry list of ladies that are going to be competing in the hurdles in next week, it's very close. Yes. I mean, there's a lot of 7.97s, 7.96s. What are your thoughts on the field and, you know, how wide open it really is?
I'm really excited. It looks so competitive. Like, it's like the last entry is 8:10. That's so fast. That's incredibly fast. So I just know at nationals, it's either you got it or you don't. You have to literally go for it. And I know that time is going to continue to go down and go down. And I'm really excited to be a part of that and just run really fast.
You want to know what the slowest entry time was a decade ago?
Yes, please.
8:22.
Really? Wow. So it just keep continuing to go up.
There was only one woman, I think, under 8 seconds.
Really?
60 hurdles back in 2015.
Wow. That is incredible. And there's I don't know how many there are of us that are under 7, but that's amazing.
Aaliyah McCormick getting prepared to compete for a national championship. She just took home the first heat in qualifying rounds, so she will advance into the final tomorrow for the Oregon women's 60-meter hurdler. Will compete for a national championship. Her, along with 13 other Ducks competing for national championships: Shalana Yildiz, Mia Barnett, Simeon Birnbaum, Maddie Erickson, Kodadoy Kadali, Jaden Mays, Wilma Nielsen, Ryan Porter, Jada Ross, and then both the men's and women's distance medley relay. 10 individuals, 2 relays, 14 total athletes for Oregon that traveled to Virginia Beach to compete today and tomorrow in the NCAA Indoor National Championships. It is a jam-packed weekend in Oregon athletics coming up over the weekend, both throughout the rest of today, going into tomorrow, and maybe even Sunday. We'll break it down when we return on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Hey Duck fans, at Country Financial, they make insurance easy. Whether you're shopping for home, auto, or more, their representatives will take the time to understand your specific needs and explain what options work best for you. Worry less and feel more confident knowing you're covered. Visit countryfinancial.com to get started today. Experience more with Country Financial. Auto and home insurance policies issued by Country Mutual Insurance Company, Country Preferred Insurance Company, and Country Casualty Insurance Company, Bloomington, Illinois.
As a local community credit union founded by teachers, OnPoint is committed to supporting the students and faculty at the University of Oregon. And on game day, we're right there with you, on the field, in the bleachers, and in the classrooms. Drop by our local branch today and discover the many ways OnPoint can help support your financial well-being. OnPoint Community Credit Union. People are the point. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing opportunity.
Duck Insider continues from the Country Financial Studios in 1 minute on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Ma, is this how you feed a hamster?
I think so.
Is my homework right?
I think so.
Is, this milk still good?
I think so.
When it comes to parenting, sometimes it's okay to think you know. But when it's something as important as your child's car seat, don't just think. Know. Double check if your child is in the right seat for their age and size. It'll help protect them in a car crash. Don't just think. Know by visiting nhtsa.gov/the right seat. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Hear that? That's the sound of your life. Perfectly imperfect. Beating in rhythm to the world you've created. But every time you drive after drinking, the music gets drowned out. Your life sounds pretty great. Don't let a buzz ruin it. Buzz driving is drunk driving. Don't drive buzzed. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
I'm coming home to the place that I remember. Back to the land of my first love. Would you spread wide arms for this wayward son?
Back here in the Country Financial Studio, it's Duck Insider, brought to you by OnPoint Community Credit Union, and previewing the weekend with our Toyota Women's Sports Schedule Spotlight. There's a bunch of women's sports that'll be going on over the weekend for the University of Oregon. Right now, Oregon women's tennis is competing against UCLA. They will also play against USC on Sunday this weekend. Oregon softball opens up Big Ten play up in Seattle against Washington. 4 o'clock first pitch today, a noon first pitch on Saturday, and a 1 o'clock first pitch scheduled on Sunday. Oregon Acrobatics at Tumbling tonight, senior night for Oregon Acrobatics and Tumbling against Mary Hardin Baylor at 6 o'clock in Matthew Knight Arena. First 100 fans in the building get a commemorative Oregon Acrobatics and Tumbling coffee mug. And on Sunday, Oregon Lacrosse will face up against Rutgers at noon. Also, the women's basketball team will await where they will go for March Madness on Selection Sunday, a 5 o'clock Selection Sunday for wherever the women will go. That's the women's sports schedule spotlight. And for the men, the schedule this weekend, Selection Sunday for Oregon at 3 o'clock, the NCAA Selection Show. Baseball against Minnesota, 4 o'clock, first pitch tonight. 2 more games coming throughout the rest of the weekend. And men's tennis, 5 o'clock tonight against Ohio State. And then Sunday, they will play Penn State. Packed weekend around Oregon. We'll break it all down and where the basketball teams are going on Monday. See everybody. Go Ducks.
Hey, so what's a great way to spread awareness that driving high is illegal everywhere? A catchy song, of course.
You can run, but you can't drive high. You can run, but you can't drive high.
Friendly reminder,